Welcome back to the Titanium Hangout. This is Mike. I'm coming at you with the weekly news and review for October 2nd. It's already October? Wow, because it's already 2 days in to October. And we're going to talk about Transformers. Now, I did do a video yesterday that covered most of the Transformers stuff, that new stuff that we got from pulsecon, but there's still more stuff to talk about. We've got some sort of G.I. Joe news, more or less just updated pictures and renders and NFTs for our G.I. Joe stuff that we've already seen. And then, of course, we did have the Indiana Jones. Now, I did make some predictions, and most of these predictions that I made did come true, so I will talk about all of this fun stuff with the Indiana Jones. And then, of course, there is Star Wars, so make sure you have plenty of caffeine to make it through the Star Wars segment. We're going to talk about this and more coming up. First of all, what's new at Show Z? This is Action Toys Sci-Fi West Saga Star Zinger Starcopter with a SA Jogo, whatever that is. But it's got a small figure, and it's $162 for this ship, and a figure 4.92 inches is what it says it is, and it includes a stand, the Star Copper vehicle, and the Sajogo figure. Next up, there's something interesting called the Nuke Matrix Fantasy Girl Cyber Forest, the Mermaid model kit. Now, this is interesting because it does kind of combine and separate with this part here, and it is made of ABS plastic, and when it combines or separates, it looks like this. So, pretty interesting little gimmick that's going on with this right here. Something from CCS Toy Shin Getter Robo Shin Getter 1 Black limited version, and this thing does look pretty cool. This is very posable. I don't think it transforms into anything, but it's awesome. About 9.5 inches tall, and it comes with a slew of just a ton of accessories, but pretty interesting. No price yet, $2 down. All right, so getting into something that would be considered a masterpiece, but it's non-transferable. It's the Iron Warrior IW07 Leader Deluxe Optimus Prime from Transformers Prime, and so it's a model. You put it together. I don't know a price on it just yet, or even availability, but it does look pretty cool. It looks almost exactly like the cartoon, matching the animation, and with it not having to transform, then you could expect it to look exactly like the animation. I think the transformable ones look okay. They look decent, but they can't quite get that slender, narrow look quite as slender as this does. It's pretty tall. It's 11.42 inches tall, so you're looking at 12-inch scale. 12-inch scale Transformers Prime, Optimus Prime. Okay, Bingo Toy is shipping the BTO2 Wind Girl IDW Windblade, and she does look fantastic. So this should be shipping. I'm actually getting her. I will be reviewing this one, and she does look cool. And she does transform. The one before this, Flame Toys? Was it Flame Toys that made it? Anyway, that one was a model kit. It didn't transform. This transforms into this, which looks pretty darn good. From what I remember from the animation, it's close to the animation, but it is more stylized than kind of what we've seen in the past. More stylized than even the, I think she was in an IDW comic book, but she was also in one of the Combiner Wars cartoon era kind of things. So what's going on with all of that? Siege or something? Earthrise? Geez, $85 and shipping from pretty much wherever you get it, or Show Z, probably the best price. Okay, so I haven't had much to say about Fans Toys Hitch lately, but I do want to say that it is shipping now from some retailers. So the good thing about this is that I haven't had much to say about Fans Toys at all really lately, but now that this is starting to ship, I'm starting to see people get it in hand and starting to see some comparisons. Now, I haven't quite got my shipping notification just yet from Show Z, but I plan to pretty soon. It's probably any day now. But is it going to be better next Transbots? You let me know. If you have both and you compared them, let me know. So there's pictures floating around about this Toy World Jetfire, and last week the Toy World stuff people were saying was old, and it was old news, or it was never produced, and maybe it's not coming out. But if it comes out, it comes out. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It carries the name Jetfire. I like Jetfire is one of my favorites, but it doesn't quite look like Jetfire. Still, I do want to point out Toy World does their own thing. They do their own scale, and these pictures are from Lost in Transformers 2.0, but this is their own thing. They're like World War II airplanes, that kind of stuff. So I remember seeing this kind of stuff, but I don't remember if this ever came out. But Toy World's still around, and they're still doing some stuff. Now, I thought we've seen pictures of this before, but this is also something cool coming from SNK, and it's not SNK that's making it, it's SNK that's licensing it, but it's from Metal Slug 2, and it's, of course, the tank turns into this robot here. Here is what the tank looks like, and I do remember this tank many hours of playing that game. It was a lot of fun. And yeah, it's just a cool, simple, sort of Contra style game that's more cartoonish and less realistic. So, still a fun game if you want to give Metal Slug, Metal Slug 2, I think Metal Slug 3. I don't know how many there are, but I played a few of them and they're all pretty good. But bringing it to life with a transformer or convertible, sliding into some new age news, they are actually making a Jetfire styled version of their, what are they calling this one? The H45EX, is it Firefox? Is that what they're calling it? But it looks really cool, and I have to say that it's very well done, and I'm tempted to get it. My heart's in the Magic Square realm, but this thing does look so good that I'm so tempted. I think they're like $80 to get this figure, which is quite a bit for a Legends, but you got to think it's big. It's a big looking figure. It's gonna really scale properly with pretty much any of the Legends manufacturers. So here it is in the alt mode, and it looks pretty clean, looks pretty good. So I do kind of like the way this looks and the way it's turning out, and so very tempting, but I'm not sure. They make like 5 or 6 different versions, or 30 different versions, who knows. So I'm not sure which one to pick. They're all making a dirty Starscream. They call this the Survival Lucifer, and it's been battle damaged, H13Z, and looks pretty good. So I'll clearly say that they did win. They did win the Secret War. Their Seekers are better than Magic Squares, but at the end of the day, all the Seekers look okay, but these do win. And now this is battle damage, making it look real world with extra added paint, and this one definitely presents well. Okay, so there is another recolor called the Shadow Ninja, and it's the MS31W Nursey to Vehicle. It's the Nurse to Vehicle. So anyhow, this is from Dr. Wu and the McFan's Toys or Mechanic Studio combination kind of thing, but I really only see the Dr. Wu on it. Oh, there's Mechanic Studio. So it's a recolor of the one I've already got. It's a decent figure. I do think that the one that's coming from New Age is probably going to be a little bit better, but this is still a solid figure for a solid price point. It's a little cheaper than what you're going to have to pay to get the New Age one, but it's another recolor. Maybe you get a New Age just for your RC and get a couple of the recolors with this one for a little cheaper. And these are 2 exclusives from PulseCon, getting into Hasbro PulseCon, which is going to kind of dominate this news video. But I want to say that these are 2 sets of figures, the Shadowglass Soundwave on the left, and then the Alpha Trion kit or group on the right. So the thing about this is they're both around the same price, $163, $167, and they're still up for pre-order. So I'm wondering if they just made a whole lot, or if there's just not very much interest in them because they're effectively figures we already have that are repainted. But in my opinion, the set on the right there, we don't have it. We don't have Alpha Trion. We don't have... This is a really good Orion Pax. So with all of this, it's great. So I'm in on 2 of those sets for the Orion Pax, but I didn't get the Shattered Glass. I feel like I missed the whole boat on that, so why start now? Okay, so PulseCon, I'm not going to go into these individual figures, but I will kind of say a few things that I got out of yesterday's video. So all this is covered in yesterday's video, except for the 3,000 piece Light Bright, I think. I don't know if I covered that in yesterday's video, but there's a Light Bright, like 3,000 pieces. It's $100, I think, something like that. It's expensive, but it's something I guess has never been done before, and I don't know if you're going to get it already set up with Optimus Prime's face. If so, that'd be pretty cool. But still, with these figures, there's a lot of stuff here we knew was coming, a lot of stuff that we saw on the leaked lists, but we didn't know, like the Junkion turns into a truck instead of a motorcycle, and he's a deluxe instead of a Voyager. Tarn was a bit of a surprise to me. I think he looks pretty good, and I think they've done a good job with him. And then, of course, Leo Prime, I think we've heard that release. And then, of course, we're trying to finish up the Minosaur and all that kind of stuff. But the core class, they're just really dialing out the core class because they have to have a lower price point item that's going to sell lots of volume. And I think they will. And the Dinobots aren't great. They're maybe not even good, but they're cheap. They're cheap, and you can put a shelf of Dinobots up there for real cheap versus $50 a figure. So they have Dinobots at the top and the bottom of scale of the price range. But anyway, overall, not a horrible showing, but nothing really too stellar, nothing crazy. I think we're going to see more crazy release information coming up soon. So outside of Hasbro PulseCon, there's supposed to be a collaboration and a Generation Select. So there's A collaboration is going to be like $50, 55 Canadian, and then two selects figures. One's going to be 35 Canadian, another one's going to be 299 Canadian. So for Generation Select, so what would be Generation Select's 300? Word on the street's going to be a repainted version of Omega Supreme into the Blue Guardian. So that's a huge risk, I think. I think it's a huge risk for Hasbro to take. You know what would not be a risk? Putting out a G1 Metroplex, right? Or reissuing that Metroplex, right? So that's no risk. So a Blue Guardian's probably a bit of a risk, but then again, it falls into the Generation Selects. It's kind of a repaint. So who knows? Who knows? It would be interesting to see what really it turns out. All right, so we're supposed to be getting some Transformers to the Magic the Gathering cards. Now, I'm just going to tell you, I don't know much about Magic. My brother's super heavy into it, and my brother doesn't like Transformers, so I really need to call him and ask him what he thinks about all this. But anyhow, it's coming. So past that, I really didn't dig too deep into it because I don't know. I'm not going to be in on that. I'm not going to be collecting it. But I think it's kind of cool to see crossovers like this. And Magic's such an old franchise, so is Transformers. So it kind of makes sense that they would kind of blend. But I don't know how they mesh in that world, all that kind of stuff, and how that works. But still kind of cool and kind of fun for those into both properties. Okay, so what's showing up around the world? It looks to me like we're getting, this is Mexico, where they have found sludge. Now, I saw a sludge in my Walmart the other day, and I didn't buy it. $52 was too much for me. I just, after A, I don't like the closed box, and B, knowing that we got slug or whatever, slag, for $35 or $25. I got two of mine, $25 for two of them each at a big sale, and I was like, that's awesome. I had to get some extras. So I think the same thing might happen with this, but then again, maybe not, because it's barely even showing up to retail. And it might be the hard one to get. And yeah, so, and what's in the box? We don't know. So before we get into a bunch of other stuff, a whole bunch of other stuff to talk about, I do want to point this out. The Robbie Reyes Ghost Rider Engine of Vengeance. This Haslab is failing because it's just not worth the money at the end of the day. And it's not turning into the package deal that some of the other ones, like the His Tank, had 4 figures with it and some unlockable stuff that no one's going to use. But this thing is literally just the car, flames, and a figure. Now he's going to get a head and some sort of a scarf or something like that. Or it's going to be like a hoodie add-on piece to make him look like Robbie Reyes when he's not flaming. So it's just not going to be there. And they're not going to be able to get that Mephisto. They're not going to unlock Mephisto. So let's say this fund's right at 9,000, which it's at 5,500 now, and it's just losing backers. But if it funds at 9,000, great. People get the car for 300, 350 or whatever, 400 after all of the taxes and shipping. And then, past that, we can get a Mephisto at retail. That sounds like the perfect world to me. All right, so I think the biggest news today, in my opinion, was Indiana Jones. Simply because this is just something that hasn't been revived for a while. And they kept saying over and over, 15 years, almost 15 years, almost 15 years. It's technically not true. It's more like about 11 because they did sit on shelves forever and they died at retail. So it's scary to bring this back out because it died at retail with the 2008 series. And then at the very end, nobody could get the stuff at the end, and so that's pricier, and then the SDCC set is worth more than its own weight in gold. So now, with this, I predicted that they would do the retro collection because they're big on retro collection. That's like the thing they crank out the most. And just like Super 7 cranks out more reaction than anything else. So it makes sense they do it. And for good reason. A carded one of these goes for like $800 on eBay. And so that's awesome. Now, a few things that they're going to do with this line. They are going to still have the action feature in this figure. And I don't believe any of the other figures had action features. But again, I have them. But I don't remember if they do or not. I just remember this action feature. But I think it's good that they maintain that. And then they say that they're going to make old figures from Kenner. And they're actually going to make new characters that were never made before. So that's really awesome too. That is very good. But another caveat is they completely knocked this off from Kenner. And it's almost exact. They scanned in the Kenner one. I'm sure there's some minor changes and modifications they made. And I think the jacket looks a little bit darker than the jacket on mine. So with that, pretty cool. But I'm excited for this line, and I'm in on every single thing that they make for Indiana Jones. So what are they making for Indiana Jones? They're making 5 figures. My guess was 6 because that was the rumor list and all that kind of stuff. They're actually going to make the 6-inch scale figures. Are going to make 25. They said 25 items. That doesn't mean 25 figures. That means that there might be a playset, who knows, or an environment or something. There might be a couple of few vehicles like a motorcycle, a truck, who knows. And then there's of course figures, probably a horse, who knows. But with all of the stuff that they're going to be making, this is a build a item, build the Ark of the Covenant right there. So each figure is going to come with some parts, and you just put it together. So pretty interesting idea that I never really thought would be something that they do. I have a bunch of Arks from a bunch of different eras, I guess, when I collected mine. So this is bigger. This will be bigger than any of the ones that I have that I've seen released in the past. And then let's get into looking at each of these figures. So here's Indiana Jones, and I think that the likeness looks fantastic. I think that we're going to see a great level of functionality, articulation, and all that kind of stuff. But I'm looking at like the knees. I'm really focusing on the knees. If you have him standing straight up, you don't even really notice the knee cut. It just looks like a wrinkle in there. So that's good. That's real good work. And even with his knees spread like that, it does just look like wrinkled pants. So it's a really good way to do it. So I think they did a really good job with that. So it looks like you're going to get like real holsters and stuff, and his whip looks really good. Everything about him looks really good. Big step up from what we've gotten in the past. For the 7-inch scale, this is actually a 6-inch scale. So here is Sala, which it's a good pick. They picked a good costume for him. There are many different costumes they were planning on utilizing, they could have used, but they used this one instead. So that works out pretty well for me, in my opinion. And for the first wave, some big hitters right here. And this guy comes with his rope, his shovel, just kind of stuff he's had in the past. Actually, stuff, if they looked at their 08, 08 he had a shovel, and he had like a pitch, a lantern kind of thing. Torch. Yeah, that's what it was. Okay, next we get Belloc, and Belloc looks pretty good, cool too. It's what you remember from the Kenner era, but modernized, and then it's what you remember from what they made him when he was in the 2008 era. So now I do want to point out we've got a 6-inch line, a retro line. We don't have anything in the middle. We don't have like a modernized version of the 4-inch kind of stuff, and I think they feel like that's what's failed. Retro and 6-inch are all we're getting, and they did reiterate they're not going to be making a whole bunch of different sizes and scales of it right away if it's super wildly popular, which I don't think it's going to be as popular as I'd like it to be. But if it is wildly popular, they make all the different scales. Okay, next up we have Marion Ravenwood, which is, again, a 2008 costume outfit of hers, which is still good. It's pretty good. It's what we did not see in the Kenner line, and we probably would have gotten in the Kenner line had Kenner kept making figures, but they didn't. It's a dead line. It failed. So anyway, looking at this, she comes with a little monkey, and she comes with a frying pan, and she had a frying pan and I think a sword in 08. I think her face looks pretty good. She looks okay. Her monkey looks really good too. So overall, I've heard people like bash it on the face or the eyes or whatever, but I think this is the closest we get to this character, so works for me. And here we go with a really fun character with a burnt up face, Tote. And so yeah, that's gonna be another excellent figure. But will all these sell well? We'll have to find it out. I've pre-ordered what's available to pre-order because I'm excited about it. But at the end of the day, maybe I'll regret pre-ordering them because maybe I'll catch them on clearance in 2026 or something. So the retro line's exciting, the 6-inch line's exciting. I just look forward to seeing what they do going forward with this, and look forward to it. I think we get the first figures sometime in April of 2023. Okay, so the Four Horsemen actually put out this Headless Horseman, which is so interesting. The Four Horsemen put out the Headless Horseman, and you get the flaming pumpkin head and all that kind of stuff. So pretty cool. I saw this and I was like, I don't know what this is. What is this? I don't get it. But I got it, but I don't get it. It looks amazing. It's phenomenal. It's $120, and I'm sorry, but I spent way too much money. I didn't spend any money today. I committed to a bunch of NFT pictures that might show up one day in real form and have to pay for them down the road. Pre-orders. So anyhow, this thing does look pretty good though, and I just felt like I was already committing to many other things to commit to this, but it still looks awesome. So getting into G.I. Joe, we're going to do the real figures they had on hand that we're able to pre-order first. Then we're going to look at some more digital render NFTs and all of that kind of stuff. But Serpentor. Okay, so I made a video yesterday, Saturday, today, yeah, whatever. I made a video before any of this, and I did say why this is going to be $80. I did a comparison to the coil cycle and a comparison to some other things out there, but the reality of it is that $80 sounded exactly on point for this, and it was $80, so $79.99. So I was able to secure both of mine that it let me with the Hasbro Pulse Premium membership that I picked up because of the was it the his tank? So they started charging shipping on his tank and stuff like that. So the first thing I want to say is that when you see better pictures of this, it's even more impressive, and I'm excited for it because this is actually a nice looking piece here. And I thought, because it lasted that whole hour, that this there's no way that this is going to sell out. They're going to make plenty of this, and then it sold out in 4 minutes. So, and I can see why. It's a fantastic looking item, and looking at it from the back, so much detail, and if you had the flimsy vintage one, which I have, the flimsy vintage one, which I have trouble keeping the parts held in, and I've even seen people glue them so it stays together. But this was a bad design back in the day, and it's even worse, didn't hold up. This design, this looks solid. To finally have a solid one of these, just amazing. It looks fantastic. Now, I also heard that there was some sort of a fluke or backdoor fluke where people that didn't have premium were still able to order it at like 4:30 here, 5:30 in other places, other time zones, but 30 minutes after the premium members got the shot at it. So, I don't know, maybe that's just something you just try from now on. Just try to order it, even if it says that you're locked out, just try. So, that might happen. It might be a good thing to do, or to give it a shot. But yeah, here he is, looking pretty cool. And here's the whole set with the box and all the stuff broken down. Yeah, you do get 2 of the back head pieces, and then we have an adjustable jaw on the actual throne itself, and all kinds of great accessories with this thing. I'll probably be doing a review on this. Now they wanted to put together like a little battle scene, so they have a whole bunch of bats. Like, who has this many bats? Oh, I'm sure there's a lot of y'all out there that have this many bats. Never mind. And so with this, there are the Crimson Bat and all the new figures and characters that are up for pre-order right now, and it looks pretty good. This is a really cool little scene they put together, and I'm sure the average collector, once they get this wave in, will be able to put this exact same scene together too. First off, we did get CoverGirl, and I think CoverGirl looks very good. She is a nice looking figure overall, and with the face, see, I don't really know how they're going to perfectly capture the CoverGirl face. I don't think it's horrible, but again, I don't see it that it's the greatest version of CoverGirl we could get. But again, people are saying it looks like Joan Rivers. Is that Jay? Jay at Geek Dad Life. It looks like Joan Rivers, so maybe Joan Rivers before all of the... No, maybe after all the work's done. But anyway, I do think she's an excellent looking figure. She comes with a lot of great accessories, and she fits the bill really well. We got Slaughter's Marauders Barbecue, and yeah, he looks good. And I think I got a vintage version of this, if I'm not mistaken. I picked up a vintage version of this. So it does exist in vintage, I believe. So I have no accessories for it if I did. But anyhow, I think it's a worthwhile repaint. And I gotta tell you, I'd much rather have a worthwhile repaint like this, or to Python Patrol or Tiger Force, than what they were doing for a while, with giving us a Regal Cobra Commander and a regular Cobra Commander. I mean, that stuff was kind of annoying. This makes a lot more sense. Here we go with Outback. Now, I do want to point out a couple things about Outback. First off, great looking figure. Very nice looking figure. And a lot of people were really upset when they first released images and pre-orders for the Tiger Force version. And I was telling everybody at the time, that means that original's coming. A standard variations version is coming down the road. Just hold your horses, and it's coming. If you don't want the Tiger Force one, don't order the Tiger Force one. It's that simple. But here he is, and he does not let down. Excellent sculpting on the face, the facial hair. Excellent sculpting on every aspect of this guy. Looks fantastic. Just outstanding. I think they painted his arms and face and head and all that stuff different than the one But we won't know until we actually get the Tiger Force one in hand. But overall, I'm very pleased with this figure. It really does the vintage figure justice. Here we go with Falcon, and Falcon does look okay. I don't think he's spot on to Falcon, but he looks okay. And so with that, a lot of people complain about how dark his uniform is, but if you look at this lighting, it is brighter than what it looked like when they were showing it off in the panel. So I'd be happy with, if it looks like this on my shelf, I'd be happy with it. But then again, I don't have direct lighting on it, so anyway, I'd still be pleased with it. I got them pre-ordered. I pre-ordered every one of these. A couple of them I pre-ordered 2, most of them, some of them I only pre-ordered 1, like barbecue, but still pretty cool. So the Crimson Bat seems to be what got everybody excited today, and that's like the most exciting thing everyone talked about. Because he's a troop builder, he's an army builder, and I don't think we've ever seen a Crimson Bat before in the past, and Crimson Guards are just hitting. People are so excited about this. Speaking of Crimson Guards, I haven't heard about where or when we're going to be able to pre-order those from Walmart, and it's always like a silent release on those, and so I missed Storm Shadow. Am I going to miss the Crimson Guard? Because I would rather have the retro Crimson Guard than the standard Crimson Guard, so that's where I sit. So I need to find out. But a troop builder like that, you could be minutes late, and you just miss out. Okay, so speeding this up, we've got Rock and Roll here. These are digital renders, and looks okay. I'm just not a huge fan of the first 13 so much, or all of them. They looked a bit bland to me, so these are spicing the first 13 up a bit. And look, he's got some tattoos and stuff, so that's pretty cool. The thing about this is that he does look pretty good. And Rock and Roll, digital render, NFT. Hey, I've got my own collection of NFTs with all these saved digital renders. Next up, we got Bazooka. Doesn't show any of his accessories. Oddly enough, you show accessories with some of the other ones, but not Bazooka and his Bazooka. What's going on here? But anyhow, he does look pretty good. Looks, well, identical to what we saw with what we're going to be getting with the Tiger Force. And so here he is. And he's got his signature red jersey on, and his helmet, and his backpack. So he's just a few more accessories with him. And he'll look pretty good. Here is wetsuit. No, it's torpedo. What's a red wetsuit? It's torpedo. Anyway, he does look pretty good overall. And so the thing about this is he comes with a ton of gear. And I just love seeing all the gear. And back in the day, I was more of a wetsuit guy. Like, in my mind, I wanted a wetsuit. Torpedo was okay, but wetsuit looked cooler and had more colorful stuff. So I guess I fell for all the colors. So I guess I should have been a 90s kid, huh? But anyhow, looking pretty. I'm looking forward to him. Definitely looks awesome. Next up, we got Copperhead, and so this, there's discussion about this, almost like it seals the deal. We're not going to get his boat because we've already got Copperhead. Or are we going to get his boat with a retro version of him? Probably not going to get his boat. It's to be pretty big, and it doesn't really only... Well, you can put a whole bunch of figures on it, too. They got pegs and stuff, so... Anyhow, nice looking figure. I'm perfectly fine with getting the drivers and not having their vehicles, and we get select vehicles. That would be great. But he's got a really cool looking gun. He's got a nice machete and another really cool looking gun. So, yeah, it works, and... So this one thing about this line is bringing to life all those other little built-in details that we had on the original figures in the vintage line. Actually being able to utilize all of those parts and pieces is outstanding. We get to do it here. Fan favorite, Shipwreck, and he looks pretty cool. Pretty much exactly what we'd expect, and he comes with his bird and all that stuff. So fantastic. I guess you could take his hat off and put on some different hair. And then you got quintessentially similar type of stuff he had from when he was from the vintage version, all that kind of stuff. A couple of guns in there, and then the grappling hook and all that kind of stuff. So a good looking figure overall, and I'm pretty sure everyone's going to look forward to getting this guy. So overall, the renders are sort of exciting, but still sort of a letdown. And I really feel like we have truly been told about all this stuff in the past, so it's not as exciting as like, hey, here's a new figure. I want to end on a a Star Wars note, and so we're going to talk about, these are the vintage collection figures. So we got Cassian Andor, and you're going to see a lot of Cassian Andor in here, but truthfully, I'm just not interested at all, and I think I'm going to have to like really slow down on vintage collection and even the retro collection, because there's so much coming out that I'm just not concerned about, or I'll catch them on clearance or something like that. But it's not a bad looking figure for the character. It's just it's not in my wheelhouse. Hunter, I probably will pick up a Hunter. Just I kind of did like the Bad Batch thing, but I find there's too much new stuff and not enough original trilogy for original trilogy collectors. So kind of disappointing with that. But here's Hunter. Now a lot of people have been asking for Bad Batch in the vintage collection, so I wonder how far it's going to go. Are you going to have to wait 5 different waves to get all the characters? It's kind of crazy. Okay, we also have what looks to be a 7. Is it a 7-pack box set? Box looks kind of unimaginative at all. So went ahead and just showed you one of these guys. Comes with all different, not weapons, instruments and accessories, kind of stuff. So it's pretty cool overall. I mean, we did get this back in the day, but I think these are better versions than the Mellow Waves from the 90s. And here's another one called, okay, Vel Sartha. I'm watching Andor. I'm not super into it. I'm not really, but I'm gonna give it a shot and watch the whole thing. It's okay, I guess. It doesn't feel like Star Wars though, so maybe it'll start feeling Star Wars-ish down the road. Now getting in the Black Series, we have the Axe Wolf. So Axe Wolves. So this is another one of like a Mandalorian from is it Night Watch kind of? I don't know. I don't keep up with all that. It's okay. It's cool. He looks like another Mandalorian type of thing. So pretty cool. I remember seeing him in the media in the show. Here is okay. So they've peppered in these 40th anniversaries, so they're not in order in the press release, but not that big of a deal. This is how I like to collect. I like to get these on these card backs, but I'm gonna wait because it seems like they always go on clearance. And the thing is, this thing's been reissued several times. So, and I was just looking through. I've got like 3 or 4 different versions of Biker Scout on different types of packaging. So I will eventually get this because I want to get each one of these in this packaging because this is really all I want to collect from Black Series. And now we jump to Bix Colleen. So don't know much about her from the Andor show. I'm not vested in her yet, so I really have no interest in buying her. And of course, I'll never be able to see the figure. So same thing with this Cassian Andor. Now, I've got a Cassian Andor I paid 3 cents for at Walmart. I think I bought 4 or 5 of them when they were 3 cents at Walmart. They couldn't give them away. Back in the day. So they marked them all down like $5. Then they eventually went to 3 cents and cleared them all out. But I can't see myself spending $25 on a Cassian Andor. Here we are with Han Solo. And this is in his trench coat. Now, the Return of the Jedi 40th anniversary. I love this. But I already bought them. And well, I guess I could say I bought them when they were a lower price point. They were actually all on sale at GameStop for like $16. So I wonder if these will hit sell. And that's the thing. I've been trying to figure out why collectors don't like this type of packaging or they don't go after this. It's not so much that. It's just that they're tired of buying the same figure over and over. And I get that. I get that. And then here's yet another Lando. And here's what I say. This Lando is a cool version of Lando. And so I like him. And I definitely want this packaging. But history, will repeat itself with pricing and clearance. Okay, so we have this Luthen Rael, whatever, he's in the Andor show, and I guess I won't go into explaining much about him, but yeah, he's alright. I'm not getting him, but he looks a lot like the character, so good job there. Mon Mothma, I think, is a good one. Will they ever put her on one of those vintage stock hardbacks? I doubt it. She's not popular enough, but so should I wait for vintage cardback? I don't know. Still, she looks pretty good overall, and she gets the job done. And something that I think is really a nice throwback to original trilogy. We're getting, I guess, a reissue of Omega, so she looks pretty good. And I've already have her, so I'm just kind of wondering why are we reissuing her. So who knows? Princess Leia in her Indoor gear. So again, I got her for $16 clearance at GameStop already. So my goal is to beat that. Can we do 14 or 12 on this card back? It just really gets old, like rebuying the same stuff over and over. It just gets really old. Let's ask Marvel collectors about that. Wicket, I did pre-order Wicket, so I don't have him yet. And kudos to me, he was in an exclusive pulsecon set or something for over $100, and I was like, nah, I don't need that just for a Wicket. So, and I don't want to collect them in sets like that. So now I got them. So pretty good, and that works out and gets the job done. Alright, so I sped through the Star Wars stuff because It's just kind of boring. This is lackluster. But let me know what you guys think about weekly news and review. What else happened at PulseCon that I missed? Or what else happened aside from PulseCon that I missed? Let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe. Tech Hanger out.